And here we are, experiencing pollen for the first time once again. And first things first, I think I'm gonna collect that hefty red xeno egg, but also check on Dad. After all, it was the disease from pollen that killed him the first time around. Your dad brightens when he sees you. Why, if it isn't my favorite gooseberry, he wheezes. I'm glad you're not as messed up as your old man. This pollen is no joke. It really isn't. And hey, Tammy's out now. And your dad is out there too. Tammy's dad is the head of expeditions, which means he's out surveying the jungle every day. This morning you see her crying in the doorway as he leaves. I don't like it when he goes out there, she sniffs after he has gone. But he's so brave, and so are you. That's why I like you, Solanna. Hey, Cal. The suns. They're so warm. Cal lifts his face to the sky, his eyes closed. Well, the blue one is just kind of warm, he continues, but the yellow one is like a heater in the sky. Grove lights on the shrine were bright, but never hot like this. It's so nice. Hi, Uncle Tonin. You step cautiously through the colony gates. Hey there, kiddo. Uncle Tonin blocks your way with a smile. I'm afraid expeditions are off limits for now. It's not safe for you kids. You'd better toughen up so you can join the squads when you're older. Wow, it's nice to see you again. It's been so long since we've seen you as the head of expeditions. I kind of... Does... She's happy to be able to run. And... So that doesn't help with animals, though. Hades! Yeah, he's just hanging out by the gates. Well, I know that this season is kind of rough on my parents, so maybe I'll shovel the dirt. It's your first day in the glorious world of agricultural soil conveyance. Oh boy. Good morning, Solanna. Looks like you're working for your old lady. I hope that you don't expect me to go easy on you just because you're my daughter. She walks around the geoponics wing and points out where everything is. Your job is to move sod, compost, plants, garden waste, and equipment from one place to another. Get comfortable with this, she says, pushing a squeaky, old-fashioned wheelbarrow towards you. Now, any questions before we start moving that dirt? No, let's get to work. That's my girl, your mom says, slapping you on the back. You stumble a little. Your arms start to ache after the first half hour of work, but you keep going. By the end of the month, you feel utterly drained and exhausted. And good somehow. You can feel your muscles growing already. I guess we can do one. Ah. What if? And there's 15! You woke from an afternoon nap. The dream you're in is one you've had many times. The air is strangely pink and fluffy, kind of sticky, and you have to push your way through it. It feels like every step takes an eternity. You push through the pink cloud and emerge into the children's creche, a room you know well, to see your friend Tammy standing before an enormous bear made of pure light. It lunges at her, through her, and she collapses to the ground like a fainting fairy tale princess. You wake with your heart racing. Tammy is leaning over where you've been sleeping in the nest of pillows. She shakes your shoulders gently. Oh, I'm sorry, Solanna, she says, as if speaking to a small child. I think you were having a nightmare. Are you okay? Am I? Nothing bad happened in the dream, but you feel sick with dread. Since you're awake, you should visit the cafeteria. Auntie Seaton is making a new kind of candy. She says it's made of cotton. Isn't that weird? I have to go tidy the creche first, and I'll meet you there. Save me some, okay? I need to save Tammy. You sprint down the hall to the children's crèche where the little kids play and learn during the day. It's empty. All the younger kids are probably off eating candy with Auntie Sedent. You spot Tammy tidying up some drawing supplies near the craft bins. Above her, the hollow projector displays an enormous floating teddy bear made of purple light. It bobs silently in the air. Mr. Bearsworth, a decade of happy memories playing with it flashed through your mind in an instant. Tammy stands up to her toes and reaches for the switch to turn it off. You slam into her, knocking her off her feet onto the ground. At the same moment, the hollow projector sparks and it explodes. The bear disappears. The whole room goes dark. We did it. We saved Tammy! In the dim emergency lighting, you see Tammy's eyes wide with surprise and fear. She sits up and rubs her elbow, staring at you. I'm sorry, are you okay? It's okay, she snivels, looking like she might start crying. Why did you do that? I was trying to help you, to protect you. My life? She says. She peers into the dark room, looking even more frightened. How? You try to explain that the hollow projector was going to shock her, but she doesn't seem to understand. What? How? But it's Mr. Bearsworth, she said. It's just a toy. She doesn't believe you, but that's okay. You're just happy that you followed your dream and got here in time. You decide not to mention the dream, since she seems weirded out already. After a minute, the lights come back on, the projector is dead, and a thin trickle of stinky smoke comes from the base. Don't worry, Tammy says, brightening as she gets to her feet. Professor Hal can fix it. He can fix anything. By the time you find the professor and finish cleaning up, you've forgotten all about the pink candy in the cafeteria. We did it! We saved Tammy! Tammy! Tammy is sitting down in the grass with a baby on her lap. They're playing nicely with some flowers or a strand of beads in Tammy's hair or something. Tammy keeps gently removing her hair from the baby's mouth. Oh, Solanna, she giggles as you join her. Aren't babies the best? There are so many new babies in the creche. You'd think we were starting a colony or something, Tammy laughs. But the parents are too busy doing other work, and somebody needs to take care of the little ones. She looks down lovingly at the baby, who is now sucking on part of her skirt, getting it good and damp with baby drool. You could help too. It would be fun. Maybe. The baby chooses this moment to spit up a big puddle of pale yellow liquid on Tammy's dress. Oopsie, Tammy coos and picks up the baby. Then she holds them out towards you. Could you take them a minute while I find a towel, Solanna? The baby hiccups and rolls their eyes. They still look a little queasy. Okay. You hold the child at arm's length, willing them to keep the rest of their stomach contents in. They hiccup again, then let out a tremendous bleat, as loud as a drunken sailor. You have to admit, that was kind of cute. Hey, Cal. The suns sure are warm. Hey, Dad. Are you okay? You meet your dad adjusting a watering pot in your mom's flower garden. He's having a sneezing fit, his eyes running in red. You're alarmed. You've never seen him look sick before. People were hardly ever ill on the stratospheric, except sometimes when the zero-G rooms made them queasy. Not to worry, my little beanstalk. Oh, I think there's much to worry about, he says nasally. I'll be fine. It's just this pollen making my head a little stuffy. It's making your head more than just stuffy. He wipes his nose with a handkerchief and looks around. Everywhere you turn, the air is soupy and tinged with pink from all the floating pollen. On Earth, your dad tells you, we used to call this hay fever. Even though it had nothing to do with hay, your mom cuts in carrying a large bouquet of flowers. The native flowers seem to be in full bloom this time of year. She buries her nose deep in them, and they smell fantastic. Your dad smiles kindly and agrees that they sure are beautiful, then he blows his nose loudly. From what I know about them, they're scary. Your mom sighs. Solanna, life on Vertumna is going to be very hard if you let yourself be afraid of everything. Your dad cuts in. It's okay, kiddo. It's just how plants reproduce. The pollen might make your eyes itch, but you'll be fine. Will I? Will I, Dad? You weren't fine. You want to tell them more about the bad feeling you have in your gut when you look at the pink haze, but you can't put it into words. Your dad's eyes look so sad, but maybe that's just the allergies. Hey, Solanna, I know the last few weeks have been very hard on you. This might be a good time to relax and stick in the quarters wing. Yeah, that's actually what I was going to do this month. Stay inside, away from all this pollen. But Tangent also has something to say? Solanna, Tangent says, approaching you with a purpose, we need to discuss my brother. Who, Dees? Yes, Dees, she says impatiently. I need you to figure out where he's been disappearing. Ever since we landed, I barely see him anymore. He doesn't even come home at night sometimes, and She trails off and looks at her feet. Well, I'm not on very good terms with my brother of late, but well, people are becoming worried. You get the feeling Tang is the only one who's worried, but she doesn't want to admit it. I'll find out. Thank you, Solanna, she says, looking relieved for a second before her expression hardens again. I mean, it would be a ridiculous waste of resources if something were to happen to him, and no one would know where he was or how to find him. Right, of course, Tang doesn't get worried. The ship's quarters are where everyone sleeps, eats, and hangs out. The private bedrooms are small. You share one with your parents, so colonists spend most of their time in the big common area. There's a lounge, a cafeteria, and a creche, where all the kids and the babies are raised communally. The lounge is a long, well-lit hall along the outer hull of the ship's midsection. It's strewn with tables and cushions and serves as a communal living room for the tiny, one-room spaces every family is assigned. You flop down into the lounge, just big bean-bag pile with some of the other kids. Cal has a dazed, peaceful look on his face. The air smells so good on Vertumna, and so does the dirt even. I know, Cal. You notice his clothes are filthy, but honestly, Cal couldn't care less. Anemone bounces in. Holy crap, there's so much space to run around and play in! Calm and Chase Fret set up in an outdoor baseball court, and it's way huger than the one on the old ship. Tangent carefully selects one cushion from the pile and perches on it. The school's expanding to some empty engineering bays, she tells you. We're getting a big new lab to do experiments and using local resources. There's so much to learn about this planet. There really is. Anemone rolls her eyes, but Tang continues. We shouldn't forget our studies just because we've landed. I miss space. The others look uncomfortable, but Tammy nods quietly. It's scary on Vertumna. It was much nicer on the ship. Nicer and safer, and not so hot all the time, and all the bugs. She shudders. I'm going to stay close to the creche for now. Yeah, me too. Not after what I've seen. You've had less deja vu dreams come to life feeling this week. You're starting to think you'd even imagine it. But suddenly you get a prickling sensation in the back of your neck and remember that Mars is about to enter the lounge and tell everyone to look outside. You stare at the door. Mars walks through as if on cue. OMG, everybody looks outside. They're hoisting a flag over a command, she says, clapping her hands excitedly. You know what that means, right? She stands tall with her hands on her hips. Vertumna is officially humanity's first colony, ever. You look at the flag and feel dizzy, and silently mouth the words along to what she says next. You remember this moment so well. This is history, kids, she exclaims, wrapping Anemone and Tangent under each arm. And we were there. We probably don't need a level 1 skill anymore. And now, I guess we'll just have to see what happens next.